Photosynthesis is one of the most important biological processes on Earth, and without it, life would not exist as we know it. Photosynthetic organisms transform light energy into chemical energy for cellular growth and other vital functions. In the equation above, CO2, water, and light energy provide a carbon, hydrogen, and electron source to form carbohydrates, along with ATP throughout the process. As the organism produces carbohydrates as a part of its metabolism, atmospheric oxygen is released into the environment.
In early Earth, our atmosphere was made up of mostly a dense, hot mixture of CO2 and nitrogen, resulting in a barren landscape, inhospitable to life. As the chemical composition of our atmosphere changed over millions of years, the environment became more hospitable to microorganisms.
Photosynthesis is dominated as the method of energy production and cellular growth mechanism due to the high concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere. As these organisms started taking in CO2 and water, they were expelling massive quantities of oxygen into our atmosphere, changing the chemical composition to the atmosphere that we know today.
With that said, photosynthesis can be considered a natural filter for our atmosphere by converting tons of CO2 into fresh, breathable oxygen, allowing other life forms, like us humans, to keep breathing.
Now remember that CO2 is one of the greenhouse gases, and with an accumulation of greenhouse gases, energy in the form of heat is trapped in the Earth's atmosphere. Plants help mitigate that global warming, but they can only process so much CO2. Unfortunately, the amount of CO2 released into the atmosphere by natural and anthropogenic human sources is tipping the scales to where plant life cannot keep up, hence all the important surrounding issues of global warming in our society.
So you might ask, where does most of our oxygen come from? Well, only 28% actually comes from the terrestrial plants in dense rainforests and trees like you usually associate it with, while the other 70% is produced from aquatic organisms. This includes kelp, phytoplankton, and algae. These microorganisms colonize almost every part of our oceans in astounding numbers, which is why they are such major producers of oxygen in the atmosphere.
Algae are a tiny but mighty force. Although they are small, the energy that they have the potential to produce can have a big impact. Most species of microalgae can be used to produce a large amount of oil, which can then be converted into biodiesel, a very common form of biofuel. In fact, algae has up to 60 times more bioenergy potential than ethanol-producing corn.
The best thing about all of this is that farming algae for bioproducts and bioenergy also means an increase in photosynthetic activity and could lead us into a greener future.
So the world is in your hands. Continue exploring what you can do to support the development and use of bioproducts and bioenergy. Jobs in the agriculture and bioenergy sectors provide exciting opportunities to support our society's need for food and fuel. Photosynthetic sources of biomass can help us move away from fossil fuel-based society, resulting in fewer greenhouse gases and fewer emissions. If you want to make a long-lasting difference applying your knowledge and skills while improving the health of our environment, photosynthesis is key.